because I'm doing so many things, I often think to myself, I wonder what my corporate career would look like if I didn't have a thirst to be creative. So this was not even, I had no active plan, but I knew that the voice was the gift God wanted to use. I just had to open up my mind to other possibilities of what that could look like. If you're coming into the industry purely from I want to create art standpoint, you are going to face multiple heartbreaks because it is a music business. And most creatives come in without the business lens.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Modern Journey. I'm your host Hamza, and today it is my pleasure to welcome an actress, a singer, a voiceover artist, a tech babe, my good friend Patricia Olufemi. Hi, also known as NC. Let me just back up. Okay, let's fast forward now.
Wow.
Hi NC.
Hello, how are you, Hamza?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks
you
for
look so
having
beautiful.
me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, please, my pleasure. I'm glad that we were able to make this work. I know you just came back from America Land. How was it? How was your trip?
It was really, really good. It was raining, but it was still humid and nice and sunny, unlike the UK.
So is this like, it was really good, I'm considering moving good? Or is this, it was really good, nothing's better than the UK, which I hope it's what it is?
I think there is something very much like home when it comes to the UK. So,
Fair.
I mean, I don't know. So, see, my thing is, except God tells me to up and move somewhere, I'm not going to move.
Fair. That's okay.
So I just have to deal with the weather.
And I will personally put in my request that you cannot move until we're moving. Like, it's like one person in your village moving. We all have to move together, okay?
Facts.
There's no, like someone then moved to Canada, another person, like, no, what are we doing?
I just think that also like with our age, with our age group, we don't have as much community as our parents did, right? So they all used to like visit each other and it's like, oh, I'm branching your house. We nowadays, we live too far away to branch people's, you know what I mean? So,
and we're also really old to start making new community. Like, but I mean, if anyone out there wants to make community with us, please come more. We want more community.
Yes,
it's just harder now, like especially with work and like life and all of that stuff.
Responsibilities.
Yes, exactly. It's really hard. But yeah, welcome back. It's good to have you back. I hope the UK has been nice to you. I mean, it's been sunny with a little bit of rain, but a lot of sun, more than usual. We could say that. But yeah, no, welcome back. And thank you so much for doing this. So for people who know you from different corners of your life, so as I've mentioned, from music, voice acting, coaching, content, tech, who is Patricia at the core when all the titles fall away?
Ooh, that's good.
Thank you.
Patricia is a multi-hyphenated child of God.
Come on. Oh, and so, a full stop.
Full stop.
Oh,
right.
Underline and bold.
Yes,
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna steal that. Yeah, that's amazing.
Because really and truly, the way you learn me depends on the hat that God has me wearing in the season that you meet me, right? So depending on when you met me, it might have just been NC Gray, and that's all you would know, right? But then if you met me when I was working at Google or TikTok, that's all you would know. You see what I mean? Now, I mean, there's voice acting, there's the coaching, there's the public speaking. So it really, I'm a multi-hyphenated creative. I'm a child of God. And then, you know, the more prominent feather depends on the season that God has me in.
I love that. And for me, also what I'm hearing as well is being obedient to that season. A lot of times that we like to put ourselves in a particular season and say we are here and we're so comfortable being where we are that we're not listening to where God wants us. So for you to say, you know, whatever I am is whatever that season that you've experienced me in. I love that. That is such a wonderful way of introducing. I appreciate that.
It's more that the society we're in doesn't necessarily mirror how God works, right?
That's true.
So we're used to a fixed identity.
Okay.
This is who I am. This is the job I do. But then, you know, God works in seasons.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's been a learning curve for me trying to disassociate myself from this is who I am, as
Yeah.
opposed to this is the current season. So, if you think about, the Israelites, right?
Yeah.
They pitched tents in different places
Mm.
and they moved with God. They stopped when he stopped. They
Yeah.
moved when he moved, up until the place where he said, hey, this is now the land I'm giving to you. You can
Mm.
now build a house and settle here.
Yes.
Most
Yeah.
times God, moves one step and we go, cool, right, I'm gonna build a house,
Yeah. I
with
live
my
here.
2.5 kids and the garage. And then when
Not
God
2.5
moves,
kids. Where did the 0.5 come
the
from?
dog, the dog is a 0.5 child.
I'm gonna tell you, that's a full-blown baby. We have
Facts.
one and it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But yeah, no, I get that. And like, how do you get comfortable with that season then? Because you're saying that it's something you had to learn. If you could give, so I know like we could turn that question into a whole episode on its own. But if you were to give someone like a quick glimpse of how you learned to obey that season and just agree, this is a season, it might be long, it might be short, but this is a season. How did you get to that point where you reconciled with, okay, this is just a season?
So full transparency, I don't think I am at the end of that tunnel. It's still a process for me.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think just the more time you spend with God, the more you understand, okay, this is how his mind works.
Yeah.
And, maybe I need to stop being so stiff.
Yeah.
And I think also understanding that God's plans for me are bigger than I could envision for myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes having to just mourn, okay, I thought this was who I was going to be.
Yes.
However, it's not,
Yes,
and just
yeah.
being okay with, okay, I have to be able to pivot, allowing myself to feel the feels. Like now, I remember when, I don't think I've ever said this like outside, but like,
That's okay. We like an exclusive insight.
so there's the PR answer of, which is a lie. When I left my job at Google, the plan was, with my music, there was a venue that I said, listen, once I play this venue, I've now become big fish, small pond. It's time to like move. And I thought that venue would take me like 3 years to be able to get my music to a place where I could. But then I opened for Roy Ayers, right? The godfather of jazz. And then people who came to that show contacted the venue to ask, oh, when is she doing her own show?
Come on.
So that was how I got the headliner slot at that venue. Did that and okay, cool. The next step now is to move into a bigger market, move from Ireland to the UK.
Yeah.
But the backstory for that was God literally told me what you're meant to do in Ireland is done.
Wow.
Pick up your things and move. Now, it took me a few months because like for context, I was working at Google, right? Like my music was playing on national radio, still is till today.
Wow.
So having to upend my life from a land that seemed like a land of milk and honey, I was doing well. Like, I was very settled. And so I had to mourn what I thought my life was going to look like. And then pick up and move to a land I did not know, move back into my mother's house after being away for 10 years. I've been in Ireland for a decade. So obedience does not mean that you won't be sad, you won't mourn, but
That's
it's
true.
trusting that the person who's called you out has seen the full picture and it will always be worth your while.
And if anything, I feel like it's even more of obedience is even more of a guarantee that you will be sad and you will mourn.
Yes.
Because we are not conditioned to just accept the change.
Yes.
It's something that we get acclimatized to. We're settlers by nature. So we want to like settle in that season. So I feel if anything, obedience is a promise that I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
What I want is not always what I'm going to get,
Yes.
but can I be happy in that season and can I use it to the best of my abilities and all of that.
100%.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's such a, like, it's so warming to me, especially as someone who is of faith. Like, it's so nice and refreshing to hear a different perspective, that kind of like gives your own faith like a warm hug.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not one that you have to like contend with or like, talk about. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. So we've talked about like a lot of things that you're doing and you've shared a lot of that, but a lot of people will look at you and think, oh, she's doing so much, which, even I get as a person, but they will also think that, oh, she's doing so much, but she's doing it so well. What does that kind of excellence cost that people don't always see?
Ooh, I think there are different layers to it.
Okay.
There is the I don't want to say fear of the unknown, but
Mm.
the opportunity cost, right? Because I'm doing so many things, I often think to myself, I wonder what my, corporate career would look like if I didn't have a thirst to be creative,
Ooh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
For example, when I was at Google, I was also going on tour. I had a 1 year jazz show that I did every Saturday night,
Wow.
right? I had rehearsals with my band at the Google office.
Wow.
So I think of what could my career trajectory have been like if I was just fully focused on corporate.
Mm.
And then I think about my music career. I have friends who I started out with in
Yeah.
music and who ended up quitting corporate completely and are
Focus on
doing
that.
amazing things musically,
Yeah.
right? I think about the people who in lockdown I went to drama school with
Mm.
and I see them on Netflix series because this is the full thing that they're focusing on.
Yeah.
And so I think if I didn't have, think about the parable of the talents, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If I didn't have the 10 talents,
Mm.
right, what could I have done with the
With
two?
the one, yeah,
Or
or
with
the
the
two,
one,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And so it's this thought of like, okay, I wonder what my life could have looked like
Yeah.
if I could pour more of myself into fewer things.
Mm.
But then the flip side of that is I want to die empty. I want to be able to say I did everything I was supposed to do.
Mm.
And if it failed, there's never I wonder what could have happened.
And I feel like that in itself is a burden because it's so easy to keep everything in. And I think that's something a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people see the videos pop up. They see the music, they see the TV show, they see the YouTube stories and all of that stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to get yourself up. It's hard to get the creative down. It's hard to get the creative out. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like this life of wanting to give all, it's a burden and it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And also the personal sacrifices that you're going to have to make, right?
You have to get comfortable with FOMO.
You have to get
You have to
comfortable
get
with
comfortable.
FOMO.
Yeah.
But also there are friends that you will lose along the way, not because they are bad people or because you're a bad person, but you just don't have the bandwidth for it, right? The social events that you're going to have to miss.
Yeah.
I think about, in uni, I can't count on like how many social things I went to. I didn't have the university experience because I was doing creative things and doing so many other things at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you need to then be okay with that.
And I think as well, so I talk about it in the episode that comes out before this, episode 1, and I did like a YouTube short about it. And I feel deeply that the ones that will care about that in such a bad way, they don't matter. And the ones that matter, they won't care. In saying that, I mean that your true friends and your true family and your true village will understand the season that you're in and will flow with you. There's sometimes that you're not able to make that appointment. It's not because you don't like them. There are times you're not able to go to their party or that gathering. It's not because you don't want to be there, but because you have to build something and you have to focus on something. So I think as long as we are able to express that, communicate that, the people who matter will understand and they will be there for us when we're ready to rejoin. And I feel like that's something that we're missing now in this world, being okay with, saying, I need a sec.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like even when we watch the amazing TV show, The Chosen now, and one of the things that my wife Davina like always points out to me is how many times Jesus himself was like, I need a sec.
Okay.
I need a sec.
Can I come back to you?
Yeah, and
retreat?
He wasn't always secluded.
Yes.
He retreated sometimes to be alone, yes, but he also retreated to do other things. He was healing other people and being creative and going to other cities and other towns. And when he came back, his flock was still there. His people were still there to say, welcome back. And I think that's something that we, in this new generation and age that we're in, we don't really seem to understand.
No.
The ability to be like, one sec, I'll be back. One sec,
and have that
anytime.
be okay.
Yes. Yeah. And have that be okay. So, Nancy, I believe that like music came first to you, right? What was it about music that made you feel this is not just something I enjoy, this is part of who I am?
That actually wasn't a conscious decision that I made. I've always sung.
Yeah.
I've always written. And there was a guy in my church choir who used to play the keyboard
Okay.
who said to me, hey, why don't we just record for fun?
I love that.
Right? One of the
Yeah.
songs that I had written. I'd gone to Primark and we'd gotten this sign that said live, laugh, and love. And I wrote a song based on the little Primark thing. It's like, oh, this sounds nice. Let's record it. He goes, oh, this sounds nice. Let's put it on SoundCloud. So
Wow.
he actually like did the little oh, this, and he made it seem very, oh, it's just SoundCloud. It's not a big deal, And then, I think I posted the SoundCloud link on Facebook and I was like, oh my God, this is nice. And I'm like, oh.
So this is a thing.
Okay, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah, so it was never like a conscious decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So switching to voice acting now, you mentioned that voice acting really emerged for you when the world shut down and live performances stopped. What did that season reveal to you about your gifts?
I think in that season, I had to also go back to the drawing board to figure out, I moved with the intention that, I'm going to move from Ireland to the UK. God had told me, go there. So I thought I'm going to come, I'm going to book these shows and it's going to be, NC Grade 2.0, And then I came in December and by March there was a lockdown. So all my plans and all the people I had emailed to all the venues, none of that could take place. But one thing that I had always known was that God was going to use my voice. So I'm like, well, if the world has closed, hello, how are we going to use the voice, right? And so I had to kind of come out of my myopic thinking that my voice could only be used in one way, right? Because music is only one channel to use said voice.
That's true.
I stumbled upon an interview on Instagram of a model that I used to work with years ago, and she has now pivoted into acting. And she was talking about the acting school she went to. So I was mindlessly Googling the acting school while listening to her. Oh, they're doing auditions. Oh, I should apply. It's in lockdown, Then they sent me the script, and I thought it was a fun lockdown project.
Wow.
I auditioned and then got an email in my spam box saying that they'd placed me in the advanced class.
Oh my.
I'm like, hello, wait.
Hang on a second.
Hello, this is not what I think we're going. But that's how I ended up going to drama school in lockdown. And it was one of the students there who says, oh, now mind you, in this class, everybody else in this advanced class were on HBO series, Netflix series. And I'm there going, sorry, what does this word mean? So it was a great place to be able to learn from people who are actually actors.
Yes, yeah.
And somebody mentioned, oh, since you sing and you record your own vocals, you should try out voice acting. Wow. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. They gave me a website to be able to, book work and like build my portfolio. I booked one job on backstage.com.
Wow.
And that was for a client that was looking for a West African voice.
Okay.
They came back to me going, oh, that client wants you for 1, 2, 3 things. I used those 3 things, put them together as my reel. And for the next 6 months, I had to at some point turn off my gig.
No
because
way.
You
were getting so
things
much
coming out of my ears.
Wow.
So this was not even, I had no active plan, but I knew that the voice was the gift God wanted to use. I just had to open up my mind to other possibilities of what that would look like.
And that goes back to what we were talking about, like of the seasons, right? You could have moved to London thinking that, I want to go to, I'm now the big fish in this tiny a pond.
I'm now a tadpole.
I need to move to somewhere bigger.
Yeah.
You move to London, then it shuts down and you're still trying to push, you're doing live performances on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Not opening your mind to the possibility that just because I need to use my voice, it doesn't mean that I have to use it in this particular way. That's incredible.
I think one of the things that we need to get better at is understanding the season you're in. When one door closes, look around to see if there are any other doors God has opened.
Or even a window.
Sometimes we are scratching and banging at the one door when God is trying to make us pivot, right? So yes, tenacity. Yes, trying to break down a door. However, is there a different door?
Yeah.
is there a work to be done in the waiting room? What else do I need to turn my attention
in the waiting
to?
room. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that it also goes back to the idea of having a vision of your life and wanting to pursue that said vision. It closes you off to so many other possibilities, which is why I have a very difficult time answering the question, where do
What's
you
your
see
5-year
yourself?
plan?
No, I literally what I was just about to say. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I don't know. Where I am today, I didn't even see myself yesterday.
And I think that is something that, for me, who has a type A personality, I'm having to unlearn.
Please tell us, what is the type A personality? What does that mean?
I am very on job, right? I am a very productive person. My life operates with a calendar.
Okay.
I am very output and goal oriented.
Okay.
Hence me having 5-10 things I'm doing at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a very achievement and goal oriented kind.
First child.
Yes. First child in
First
a
children
Nigerian home,
We know ourselves.
But then it's also a case of you can have your life planned out.
Yeah.
And God is like, you're so cute.
Yes.
No. Right? And so having to unlearn and find a balance between, here's what I'd like to do, Lord. What do you want?
What do you want?
Right? Which is a middle ground.
Or even how do you want me to do it?
So that's a middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Where you actually should be is, right, what's the plan?
Yeah.
As opposed to submitting your own and then trying to now shift it into what he wants you to do, actually going to the author and going, so what's the plan? And how do you want me to execute? And when do you want me to execute?
Because our timing is not... Anyway, because this is as my people say, is tantalizing my spirits. It really is. But just staying on voiceover a bit more. So you went from, obviously, what you're saying, DIY beginnings, and I don't know if you want to share, but I think one of the earliest pictures I saw of your voiceover was how you built this IKEA closet. Just tell us about that so that I don't steal the thunder on that.
So a lot of us want to, I think this is more of like a social media issue where a lot of us want to start off, we don't want that ramp up period.
Yes.
We want to start off in the professional setting. We want to start off at number 10.
Yeah,
right?
Stadium tour.
And I had to realize, okay, I want to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
Wait, do I ever want to be a voice actor? Is this thing
That's a good question.
No, but is it actually going to work, right? So creating, going back to a 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Creating an MVP. What is the test scenario I am going to create to justify if this thing is actually viable?
Yeah.
What is the minimal viable product, right? Okay, than me going to rent a studio and doing, a voice reel that may get me nowhere. Why don't I just think, okay, I need a soundproof place. Before I built that cupboard, I was recording underneath the duvet.
Under the duvet.
In fact, my last trip to Houston, I had a job. I recorded it under the duvet.
Wow.
So it still works.
Did you take your mic?
I did. I always travel with a mini setup.
Just in case. Come on.
And as I landed, I booked that job. So imagine if I didn't go with
didn't have it.
A mic, right? Imagine if I was only used to recording.
So no, I can't record. I need my things around me.
I need my things, right?
Need my things.
And so learning to be more flexible.
Yes.
So I bought the IKEA cupboard, went to Amazon, bought the padding, bought spray glue, glued it up.
Come on.
So if it doesn't work last, I bin it, right? But then if you've invested in a studio, then you are less likely to pivot if you need to because you've poured in so much into this thing.
You just want to stay
it
right
must
there.
Work.
Yeah.
But what if actually that isn't the thing? So the MVP helps you understand, do I even have the patience to be able to sit and record and edit?
Yeah.
Because some people like the idea of a thing, but I'm not committed to the execution of said thing.
And for people out there that may not understand what it takes, let me tell you from personal experience, because many a times, because Davina, my wife, also does voiceover, many a times have I entered the room where she records and see her come out of her boots sweaty.
Yeah.
Because you have to stay in this soundproof thing.
It's a hot box.
And you might be there repeating the same sentence like 25 times, and because you're sweaty and tired, and maybe you have like the mouth smack thing,
Yeah.
you're like trying to focus, and then you have to enter the character, and then sweat is dripping and it's hot. You can't have a fan because then it affects the mic. It's it's not
so many
easy.
variables. I think people need to know that it goes beyond being able to talk.
Yes.
In fact, I am a great case study of it has nothing to do. I have a stutter. I don't think people clocked that. There's one message I have screenshot from a friend of mine from secondary school going, you are an example of anything is possible. Because growing up, I had to stamp my feet to get words out.
Wow.
So now seeing me going from that child, somebody who does public speaking, who does voiceovers, and being in a studio where if I'm recording, I have to then cut out the parts where I can't say some days it's G's I can't do, or it's G, P, and B.
Wow.
And so depending on how many G's, B's, and P's there are in the script, it's going to take me like an hour to record like a paragraph.
Yeah.
And having the patience to go through that,
do over again,
and learn ways to edit that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
It's not.
Anyway, so you went from like DIY beginnings, under the duvet, which you still do, but then building your own cupboard from IKEA, to now, like these days, you're working with like major, huge organizations. What did that journey teach you about being resourceful and believing in yourself?
I think one thing it's still teaching me is the willingness to start small. And even with people who I coach for voice acting, I think because of social media and because we are now privy to people's finished product, people discount or disregard humble beginnings.
They think where you are now is where you started.
Yes.
Yeah, I woke up like this, flawless.
And it's like,
flawless.
It doesn't work that way, right? And being able to say, hey, okay, like now, my current mic is actually this mic, the Shure SMB. I didn't start with a Shure mic. My first mic was 70 euros, not pounds, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that there are clients who are willing to meet me there, who only have a budget for somebody who's got a 70-pound mic, right? Who can't afford the person who has a whole setup.
Yeah.
And so starting with what I have, where I am, and learning on the job.
Yeah.
Many of us don't start because, oh my God, I haven't perfected it. I haven't.
Or I haven't gotten the big job.
Yes.
They see a $5 order and they're like, what is that? But how are you going to practice? How are you going to build yourself up? And sometimes like you have clients who will only give you like a little first.
Yeah.
And that's what they can test the markets with before they come.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Because you're going to use that set of clients to build your portfolio, right?
Yeah.
So if you aren't willing to take over and if we just want to be honest, sometimes your work is not worth more than that £5. Let's be honest. Hello, get down.
Shade. It's not the get down.
You have to be a beginner, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I was able to ramp up so quickly with voiceovers was I looked at people who had just started out on the platform that I was on, and I charged 20% less.
Wow.
In the first 6 months, so that I could get people who, one, had a small budget, save money by working with me so I could actually learn what works.
Yeah, and gain all the experience as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not just only about learning by doing in terms of what is working in the market and how to position yourself, but it's also your tongue and like your enunciation and the different accents and stuff. It's almost like learning a new language. How can you learn it if you don't practice?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people think, like voiceover is just, the boy went to school today.
And
no,
it's not.
The brief could be like, say that word, but say it like you're talking to a baby.
Yeah.
The same brief, the next one, it can tell you, say that word, but say it like you are a 95-year-old woman whose birthday is today. It's
the clients
crazy.
I coach, words are just words on a paper. Your intonation gives it meaning.
Yeah.
Right? Your pause changes the meaning. The pace changes the meaning.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to, and I feel like voice acting is one of the harder types of acting because you don't have your hands, you don't have your face, you don't
There's
have
nothing to distract
there's
anybody
no other
with.
Things to help you send the message across. There are no facial expressions, right? You can't like furrow your brow. Anybody gonna see that?
Yeah, that's true.
So being able to take on various characters and show different emotions
Mm.
just using one tool, which is your voice.
Yeah.
That's learned, right? You
Mm.
can't read a textbook for that. You need actual experience with clients, with scripts to be
Yeah.
able to do that. So take the low paying
Mhm.
job, learn the work,
Mm. Yeah.
then increase your prices. Thank you so
Amen.
much.
So I don't really want to put these two against each other, but because I come from a place where I've experienced both, I'm just going to ask you, what do you feel that voice acting has given you that music could not? And vice versa. What do you think
Child,
music
we gonna go there.
we're going there. We have to go there. And what do you think music has given you that voice acting could never?
Oh wow. If I am completely honest,
Mm.
I think voice acting has given me the ability to explore my creativity without the heartbreak that music brings.
Oof. Because everybody thinks they're gonna start singing I Will Be Beyonce. It just doesn't. It's so music is probably one of the most heartbreaking things I've
It is. And I think especially if you're coming at it from the space of being a pure creative and not a business-minded creative, right? If you're coming into the industry purely from a I want to create art standpoint, you are going to face multiple heartbreaks because it is a music business. And most creatives come in without the business lens.
Yeah.
And so you face a lot of disappointment and heartbreaks. And then there's people who come at it from a pure business standpoint and are able to move quicker because they aren't as committed to a creative process, right? And so with voiceovers, I was able to, listen, I embody a script, I deliver my script, and I get paid, and that's it.
Yeah.
With music.
Please talk about it.
You know, like you can put your all into a song.
Yeah.
And someone tells you, like they've told me, oh, it's not radio ready.
It's not radio
or
ready.
It's not radio friendly, right?
And that's even a nice version.
Or the newest terminology, it's not TikTok friendly. It doesn't have, 15 seconds that could pop on TikTok. But it's like, hello. Hello, TikTok. Right?
And that's the thing, like I feel like with music and a lot of like creative things in that aspect, especially if you do like a video with it and all of that, it's almost like a baby that you have birthed into and it's like you have no control over it anymore, and it's so subjective that someone can come and tell you just something totally left field, and you're like, this song was born out of like the depths of like my sorrow or my pain or my joy or my happiness or whatever. And it's just like, it's not commercial enough. It's not.
But also the addition to that is that it was born out of sweat, tears, and financial investments.
Oh, yes.
Music is one of the most expensive,
low
return investments you can make, right? When I recorded my EP, at that time in Ireland, there were not a lot of producers who could produce my sound. And so I and my band spent so much time perfecting it live because that EP was done live.
Yeah.
That money was money I was saving for a deposit for a house.
Oh my.
Right? I have not recouped that money back. And a lot of, I think it was Ray who was saying that, like, her life savings went into making a project that had a 16-piece orchestra. Like, it is a very, very expensive dream to have that may or may not yield fruit. And so, which is why you need to be able to also think about the business element and think of what are the other things you're going to be able to do that will bring in money for you.
Absolutely. It's like a lot of people as well, they, when they work on music or they work on something creative, they also have like a second thing on the side, and that thing on the side fuels their creative thing, because especially in the beginning, especially if you're approaching it as a creative, it just doesn't give you the returns that you think it would. So as a lot of people, they admire a hyphenated woman. I'm sure your DMs are flooded, but
they're not, but continue.
Okay, that's good. So a lot of people admire a multi-hyphenated woman. And as we were talking a little bit in the break, you said that a lot of people sometimes don't reach out because they feel threatened. How can you speak on that a little bit?
Well, let me adjust my seating position. No, I think, this is a very tricky one. I do think that there are a lot of nuances to it.
Okay.
If you think about it, if we're going to be very realistic with the data that we have, it's only been, I think 60 years since women could vote.
Yes. Yeah.
Since they could buy a house or a car or do things without having a male signature. So this is relatively new, seeing women achieve at this level en masse, right? And so it is not commonplace for women to have been achieving like this. And so understandably so, there is a high population of men who that's not how they've been trained. Do you see what I mean? So I wouldn't say it's necessarily men's fault that people don't, but it's not like it's the provider, protector that they've been taught to be. And what that has designed things to be is that, the man is the one who is at the forefront, going out and, killing the dragons, and she's at
not
home.
killing the dragons.
Right? But now there aren't as many dragons to kill, right? And now we're both in the workspace. We're both accomplishing things. So if you flip it and say that, well, if a man has been told that it's his responsibility to provide and protect, what now happens when the woman is also providing?
Also doing that, yes.
And then there isn't as much to protect.
It challenges that mindset.
Yes. And so what we haven't really redefined what more a man brings, because a man can bring so much more.
Yeah.
Right. And so what now happens down the line is that when the majority of men come across, women who are doing extremely well in their fields, the question is, what can I bring to the table if I've been taught that my core role is to provide and protect.
Yeah. And like focusing on you for a sec, what systems and processes do you think have helped you stay sane in this world being a hyphenated woman?
Not to sound too churchy, but it has to be God. Because you get pulled in a lot of different directions, a lot of things, and people want to define who you are or who you should be or how you should approach things.
Yeah.
And so always taking it back to, who am I in Christ? And not letting the external things I'm doing also define who I am. Yeah. Because those things also change, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And Ente, I want to ask a very, personal question to you. So last year, I know you lost your mom. And again, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
She passed away after a long battle with cancer. Only sharing what feels right to you, how has that changed the way you move through the world right now?
I think there are a lot of different parts of that story that have really shaped how I approach life right now. But I think even what strongly comes to mind is community.
Yeah.
And how that has shifted for me in this experience.
Okay.
I think our generation, we're quite independent, we're quite siloed off, and we're not as community driven as maybe like our parents would have been. And this experience, with my mom's health, and, she was in hospital for a bit, and having people show up for me the way they did. I would have never experienced community the way I did if not for my mom's health condition.
Wow.
It gave my friends and my church a way to show up for me in a way that I had never experienced before, in ways I didn't think were possible, right? I had, friends, leave their husbands and come and live in my house, right? I had, friends who ensured I had showered. I had friends create rotas to come and stay with my mom in hospital while I traveled for work, right? My church came and stocked up my fridge more than 2 times. The morning that I got the phone call that my mom passed, it was my mentors in church. Actually, when they called, I was on the phone with somebody from church at past midnight who was praying with me. So there was somebody on the phone with me when I got the call. It was my mentors in church who I called straight after, who came and picked me up and picked up my siblings and drove all the way there. So this experience has shaped what community looks like for me, but also has challenged me and how I show up for my own friends, right?
Yeah.
And has made me realize that we're not designed to do life alone.
Absolutely.
And it's made me kind of question, okay, this is how deep friendship is supposed to run, or how deep community is supposed to run. Also, as somebody who has, firstborn type A, I do everything by myself. It's taught me how much I do need other people, and being comfortable around, or finding people who I'm comfortable enough to lean on, and also show up properly when my friends need me to show up for them.
And I love that you said having people that you feel comfortable to lean on, because I talked about it not too long ago, and I said that a lot of times when we're emotionally depleted, it's easy for us to reach out to anyone and everyone, but it's not everyone and anyone that you should allow into your space, especially when you feel so emotionally vulnerable. So I'm glad you shared that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also just being conscious that it is not in the time of need that you build those relationships.
That is so true.
I had the privilege of drawing on wells that I had poured into. If you want a village, you have to be a villager, right? You can't wait till, things hit the fan. Like, oh my God, my friends don't. But did you show up for them? Right?
Yeah.
And so investing into the right friendships, also in the good seasons, weeding out the ones who are not the ones.
Because it's easier to do when you're in the good season.
Because if not, when the chips are down, you are now disappointed that XYZ person did not show up for you, but actually they had shown you signs. You just did not do your due diligence to trim the weeds.
Yeah. And what would you say losing your mom has taught you about yourself that you would have never chosen to learn, but that you deeply needed to?
Ooh. I'm learning that I cannot do everything by myself. Because that is the kind of life my mom lived, right?
Okay.
My mom was a goal-oriented go-getter. There was nothing, like, I grew up seeing a very good example of what a powerful woman could look like.
Wow.
My mom achieved so much in her lifetime, but I also feel like with that strength, she also wasn't able to delegate to people, to find people that she could lean on.
Yeah.
Right. And so even towards the end, my mom said to me, wow, like, I see how your community is showing up for you. Because maybe that wasn't something she had seen mirrored.
Yeah.
Right. So she didn't build those kind of communities. She poured out and maybe wasn't as poured back into, because, it's hard to become what you haven't seen. Right. And so I'm now taking the learnings and going, hey, I may have the ability to be Superwoman, but even Superman on some days was Clark Kent. Some days drop the cape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. And see, that's, yeah. No, I definitely received that. There is, I guess, a lightness with you, especially now talking about this. How do you feel this season has been in terms of your emotional stability? How do you feel you've been able to get to the point where you can talk about this? Because I know a lot of people that go through such grief, they let it envelop them and it becomes, yes, that's the word, consumes them. How do you feel you've been able to, not forget about it, but you've lived through it, but you're still able to live with it?
I think a key part for me was I knew I didn't want to bury. So I've been very honest about my emotions. Going back to one, like, before this season, building my circle is small, my circle is efficient, right? I have friendships that are few and run deep. And having people that I can be genuinely, I mean, your wife being one of them, that I can call up and say, like, I can't breathe right now. This is really, really hard. Or, people that I can be honest and say, oh, I'm mourning the life I thought I was going to have. Because right now, I am the first child. Yeah. There is an 8-year gap between me and the next person, and a further 8 between him and the next person. So the amount of responsibility on my shoulder is a lot.
It's a lot.
So having people that I can be honest about, hey, here's how I'm truly feeling today. Yeah. Having the mentors that I had built that depth with prior to this season, right? Like, there are times where I just say, please, I'm coming to your house. Right? I just sit there and I pour out everything that's on I think, one, being honest about where we're at and how we feel, right? The days where I'm just angry. Like, how could you up and leave me?
Yeah.
I'm angry about the things that, she will never get to see. And being honest about what that looks like, the goals that I had partly wanted to achieve because she would see them. What choices I'm going to have to make differently because her opinion is not there. Her approval isn't there, right?
Yeah.
And being honest with that, being honest with God about, I prayed and I did all the things that I was supposed to do, and you still let this happen. I think a lot of times the feeling of, of overwhelm and it being all consuming is also sometimes comes from you trying to bury your head in the sand and not being honest about, here's where I am.
Yeah.
Here's genuinely how I feel. The first step is just ownership. Hey, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
This is how it is doing me at this point. And genuinely having people that, one of the things that I'm not so great at that your wife has really helped me with is journaling, right?
Yes.
Being able to catalog those feelings and actually work through them.
Yeah.
Been hugely, hugely helpful. And just praying.
Yeah.
Praying honestly. Bringing all the colorful emotions. I'm just being honest about how I feel. Yeah.
Because that was going to be my next question to you. As someone who is in faith as a Christian as well, how are you able to process this, being a Christian and being honest with God? Because one of the things you said is praying and praying honestly. But when you pray for something and you believe it, and you pray for something of that nature, of that gravity, and it doesn't happen the way you pray for it to happen, or even close to it, it does something to you.
Oh, yeah.
How were you able to work that out in your faith and in your walk with God?
So this is a multi-layered question.
Yeah.
I think the first disclaimer that I will give is that if you've done something to upset me, right? If I distance myself from you, I will never understand why you did what you did. So I knew I could not step away from God because I had to understand. And the only person that can help me understand why he did what he did is him. Right? My mom passed in the early hours of Sunday morning. I still sang in church that Sunday.
I remember you telling me that. And honestly, I don't think I could ever.
Of what use is it if I now move away from the only person that can give me the answers? So that was my frame of mind, right? I don't think on this side of eternity we will ever get all the answers that we seek.
We won't.
But I think one thing this process has taught me is there's also a lot that we know and do that we think is biblical and is not. There are many promises that we've been told God made to us that are not in the Word of God. Most of what we have as Christians is Chinese whispers. somebody else's revelation
Yeah.
that is passed down to us. So because we haven't read the word ourselves, right? So sometimes you're holding God to ransom for things that he didn't promise you. He said, in this world, there will be trouble. There will be trials. He has overcome the world does not directly translate to there will no longer be issues. In the fire, I will be there with you. It don't mean there is no fire.
He's been telling us.
But sometimes because we want to feel good, we interpret the word in a way that makes us feel better.
Rose-colored glasses. Yeah.
Right? And so one, being honest with, okay, what did God actually say to me? I think one of the most uncomfortable conversations is the end goal is making heaven. With the life my mother lived, I can bet everything I have in this world that she made heaven. So was her goal, did she actually meet her goal? She did. I don't like the how.
Yeah.
I don't like the when. But according to God's plan, like the whole point of this, I think this is a very new learning for me. But the whole point of this life's journey is to be reconciled back to the Father. That is the whole point of all of this.
Yeah.
We're once separated. The goal is to be reconciled back to him. Has she gone to? Yes. So that is the joy. That's why heaven rejoices. I don't like the how. I don't like the when. Does God answer prayers? Yes.
He does.
However, we've been taught that an answer is a yes, no. An answer is a no as well. We don't talk about that part. An answer to a prayer can be not yet. An answer to a prayer could be, oh, you've opened a door somewhere, so I can't do this the way you want. And these are the uncomfortable conversations that we don't want to have.
Prosperity gospel, innit?
Right? And so if my end goal is, I want to make heaven, I want to live the kind of life that God has called me to live, I still need to readjust my posture and have that lens of, okay, in the grand scheme of things, she had a good life. My mom had a women's ministry, and the impact of that has outlived her. Not many people who live. My mom's ministry was set up in a way that till today, it is still running as though she was here. She put the right people in place. So how many people have passed away and what they had? Even pastors have churches that fold after they go. There are companies that don't have a good succession plan.
Yes.
Right? So what she has built has outlived her.
Yeah.
It may not be the number of years that she wanted or that I wanted, but I have to be able to also, with my grief, carry the vision of, okay, but she did do this, right? In her time, and a little bit now as well, we see all the smoke that single mothers get. Look at the children she raised by herself. Hello?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the legacy she has left behind is amazing. And I need to be able to always bring that into the frame and carry both things. So that I don't get overwhelmed by the grief. And I also don't get, the grief isn't washed away by, no.
Yes.
You have to be able to carry both things.
Because you can't do either in exclusion.
Yes.
You can't do
Two things
either.
can be true.
Yeah. Oh, NC, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just so touched by your story, and I'm touched by how you're able to process things, and how you're also able to explain it, because a lot of times we live our lives and we always think that we live our lives for ourselves, but we don't. We live our lives for others. We should be living our lives in a way that it shines a light for other people to see, oh, there's a hole here, or, this is how I jumped over it. This is how, because at some point people say in this life, there are only two things that are guaranteed: death and taxes. So at some point we are going to be able to, where we are going to experience grief in one way or the other. It could be losing a parent. It could be something as serious as losing that, as serious as that. Could be something
Losing
as serious as losing as a partner, or something as little as losing a job. You
Yeah.
know, we all just need to figure out how to experience that grief and how to grow from it and not let it envelop us and, you know, consume us.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I had a follow-on question to that. And you being a creative, you know, and being self-employed and grieving at the same time, there is a particular tension that comes with all of those. Because like deadlines are coming, you know, you talked about having your siblings that you are taking care of, you know, bills, your income, all of that responsibility. It doesn't pause. What has that tension looked like for you, and how have you been able to live with it?
So, when mom passed, I was in full-time employment. I actually got made redundant a few months after she passed.
My God.
So, yeah, life has been a bit back to back. And at the time, I was a VP of a company. I had a team that reported into me. So trying to balance that,
Yeah.
also trying to balance, you know, creative expressions as well, and my family. I think understanding that you cannot be all things in all seasons. I knew
true.
that my creativity had to take a back seat,
Mm.
right? I knew that my emotional bandwidth wasn't where it was going to be, right? So one, I had to lean on other people. I have mentors who were
Yeah.
able to, you know, step in, you know, with my siblings, you know, also having honest chats with them going, hey, you know, I'm not okay today.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I will forever jar me is how now that I'm on the other side of it, how we have, is it 3 days or 4 days to grieve in the office?
Girl, let's
Who
not even
sets up-
talk about
who
that.
sets up these policies?
Let me tell you something. And one of my friends, he's going to watch this, but we were, I won't say the company name just in case their lawyers are unready. But we worked in a company together, and his dad passed away. And day 3 of his dad passing away, he got an email or a Teams message from the HR director asking him, so when are you coming back to work? When he told me, I was like, are you
What do you mean?
for real?
What do you mean?
Like by day 3, you haven't
Yeah.
even started to begin
To process,
processing
yes.
what is going on. Because it's almost like, oh, I can't reach the person by phone. Maybe I'll try again tomorrow. Your brain is still in that.
Yeah.
Honestly, this capitalism needs to die.
Yeah.
It needs to go. This is ridiculous.
And so those demands of, oh, you know, you're not performing. Yes, I'm not performing. My whole life, like the rug has been pulled from underneath me. And so it's, you know, and things like that also make you reevaluate what is actually important. Because money comes and goes,
Yes.
right? But also, I think that's why now, like right now, I'm consulting because I want to be in control of my own time.
Yeah.
My, you know, my goals in life have shifted, right? I want to be more present. I want to take on work that actually means a lot to me. Not that I haven't done that in the past, right? But
yeah,
working for companies who their HR build policies that are more in line with human behavior.
Yes. And human beings, basic humanity, please, all you HR people,
No,
I
but
beg.
it's true. Because it's like, if you haven't experienced loss or grief, you cannot follow a textbook on how, right? There's so many nuances that policies don't take into account.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want a workforce that lasts you for a lifetime, how are you going to build policies that actually support people through key life stages?
That's true. That's true.
And you wonder, oh, why is there so much attrition? Look at your policies. Look at your policies.
Or why don't they recommend us?
Look at your policies.
Why is our exit interview horrible?
Look at your policies.
Exactly. I wish I had more so that you can say, look at your policies again. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So knowing what you know now, as a woman of faith, as a creative, a professional, and someone who has lost a dearly loved one, what do you want to be more intentional about protecting in this next chapter of your life?
Myself.
Mm.
And
And
I
that's
say
on
that,
period.
and if I could drop the mic, I would drop the mic. So just
That's what's that. And that's
imagine the
on
mic being
period.
dropped,
Mic
right?
drop.
I think we live in such a fast-paced world
Yeah.
that we aren't really as conscious of ourselves
Yeah.
and pouring back into ourselves. This season has helped me realize just how much of myself I had abandoned in chasing and it's like, my music isn't me. Being a VP of a company isn't me.
Yeah.
Neither voice acting or, even serving on multiple churches and
Multiple
teams
teams
in my church
yeah.
isn't me, right? These are all things that I need a full cup in order to pour out, right? You cannot give from empty or from your reserves. So what are the ways in which I'm going to build a life that actually fills me up?
Yeah.
Which also means saying no a bit more. What's going to have to go?
Yeah. Just like I heard someone say, I can't remember if it was Taraji P. Henson or someone, she said that if you don't ask me to explain my yes, don't ask me to explain my no.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just being more conscious of myself, what my own needs are.
Yeah.
And knowing that everything cannot be done at the same time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I can't wear every hat at the same time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I have permission to turn off my phone and my laptop, and that's okay.
I love it. And as you walked in,
nobody's dying.
We were talking about, putting your phones on silent. You were like, no, mine is on airplane mode.
Airplane
I was
mode.
like, come on.
I don't work NHS.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to die.
Yeah.
You will be
That's
okay.
Yeah. I'm not on call.
And if you are not, something is wrong with your line of this. Is it only me that you have in your phone?
Press 999. In America, 911.
There you go.
Wherever you are, I don't know the emergency number. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Nancy, it's been so fantastic talking to you. But as I bring the episode to a close, I ask all of my guests the same question. And that's the question I'm going to pose to you. So you've answered a little bit of this, but just in case there's anything else to add, but what does this season of your journey require from you?
Ooh. This is going to sound so churchy. I'm so sorry.
It's so right. This is who you are. Okay. Don't apologize for nothing.
This season of my life requires prophetic precision.
Okay.
Right.
Please explain.
So AI hasn't gotten to a place where I can replicate myself. Right. So I need to be pouring into the right things in the right amount.
Yes.
And it has to be when, where, and how God wants me to do it. I don't want to be quicker than He's leading. I also don't want to let fear make me move too slow.
Yes.
Right. So it has to be very, very precise.
Yes.
Where do I need to be? When do I need to be there? And how do I need to execute?
Yeah.
That's what I need in this season, prophetic precision.
I love that. And see, thank you so much. I've been so blessed. I've been so touched by our conversation. I hope you had a fantastic time.
I really did. Thanks for having me.
Please, my pleasure. You're welcome anytime. Even if I'm off season, just say, I want to do it again. And I'm gonna have you back. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I had such a fantastic time.
Me too.
Thank you, NC.
Can't wait to watch it.
Yes, I can't wait for it to come out. But everyone, that's the end of this episode. I hope you had a fantastic time. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Modern Journey. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Everything you do with all of the platforms, it does help the algorithms, figure out what to do with our podcast, and it does help the channel grow. So thank you so much. But until next time, it's been amazing. I'm your host, Hamza, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.